For our top story today, a day after the deadly stampede in Bengaluru, the city and the country is still in a state of shock. 11 people died in the incident. The eldest was aged 32, youngest just 13. The average age of those who've died was 23. Among the deceased were young students and job seekers. A day after, it's the human face of the tragedy that I want to begin tonight's show with. Take a look.
Divyanshi was about to go to school. The bag was packed, lunch ready. But then the 13-year-old decided she could not let go of the chance to catch a glimpse of her idol, Virat Kohli. Divyanshi, her mother and brother headed out to Chinnaswamy Stadium on Wednesday.
We did not have any plans to go inside. We were watching, comfortably sitting on the footpath. Somehow I escaped from there. I rescued one person, so I thought she was inside. But then later I saw her.
Now all that remains are memories of her.
She was an angel to me. She was master of emotions. Swimming champion agidlavಳು. I was 20 when I delivered her. That's what I'm telling you. I was 20. We grew up together. More than a daughter, she's like my friend.
Her mother also told us that she was a very bright girl. She was excellent in academics. She wanted to become a doctor or a pilot. That was her aim. She was very focused in that, very clear that it was either of these two professions that she would pick and choose once she grows up to become a big girl. She was a cricket crazy girl. You name a player in cricket and she used to know, tidbits about them, information about them.
The victims of the stampede were all youngsters full of life. Among them, 16-year-old Chinnaswamy, who had just cleared his Class 10 exams. Purna Chandra, a 26-year-old civil engineer who travelled from Mysuru to celebrate, never to return. 19-year-old Chinmay Shetty, an engineering student and dancer who wasn't even a cricket fan but had gone along with friends. Prajwal, who left home saying he had a job interview, his family only discovered the truth later. Another victim, Manoj's father, lamented over how they had lost everything with their son's death. A bright boy whose education he was funding in a premium institution.
Presidency ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾವುಕಾರ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಓದೋದು ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಸರ್ ನನ್ನ ಮಗನ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಸಾಲ ಮಾಡಿ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಹಾಕಿದೆ ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ಯಾರು ಸರ್ ಹೇಳೋದು ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇಯರ್ ಪರ್ಸೆಮ್ಸ್ ಈಗ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ಸರ್ ಇನ್ನೆಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟರು 50 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೋಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಸರ್
ಇನ್ನು ಬರಲೇ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ ಯಾರಣ್ಣ ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಮ ಮಗ ಯಾರನ್ನ ಮಗ ಅಂತ ಕರೀಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಮಾಡೋಣ ನಾವು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಹುಡುಗರು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ಗ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಣ್ಣ.
24-year-old Sahana from Kolar also lost her life. Her family says not only was there anyone to help, but the government could not even provide a freezer box for her body until they protested at the hospital.
ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕಂಪ್ನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉದ್ಯೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಇಡಿಸಿ ಜಾಬ್ ಸೇರಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರೀಸೆಂಟಾಗಿ ಜಾಬ್ ಸೇರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ಲು. ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಗುನ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಆ ದುಃಖನ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬರ್ಸೋದು? ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ಗೆ ಯಾರು ಹೊಣೆ?
As families mourn their children, all they are left with is silence from those in power. Bureau Report, India Today.
Those images tell you just how this tragedy, in a sense, has touched so many lives. The tragedy itself, though, was avoidable. There were many red flags, but those warning signs were ignored. Ignored by the government of Karnataka, ignored by the Karnataka State Cricket Association, and indeed possibly by the RCB franchise. Now the story of the stampede in Bengaluru has become all about what is probably this country's favorite game at such times, passing the buck. Who will be held responsible? I'll raise that question. But first take a look at how those in power are simply passing the buck.
A day after the stampede in Bengaluru that left 11 people dead, more facts have emerged about the circumstances that turned the celebration of RCB's IPL victory into a tragedy. Sources tell India Today the police were against holding the celebrations on a weekday. They wanted it on Sunday, when traffic would be less. Offices would be shut. The police officials also pointed out that they had already spent the night controlling the crowds on the streets, celebrating RCB's victory. At 7:01 a.m. on Wednesday came the first official announcement by RCB on X about a victory parade. At 11:56 a.m., the traffic police announced that there would be no victory parade. Again at 3:14 p.m., RCB's post mentioned a victory parade at 5 p.m. to be followed by celebrations at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. The RCB, the administration, the police and everyone linked to the celebration underestimated the crowds that would come. The stadium had a capacity of 35,000. Over 2 lakh turned up. On a match day, a fixed number of people come to the stadium. This time, there were no tickets. And when the event was first come, first serve, thousands gathered.
Initially, RCB said that you should download the passes online. And thereafter, there were huge crowd and they couldn't even check the passes. And everybody was allowed on first come, first serve basis. They had opened the full gate. And later on, when they realized they couldn't control the crowd which was rushing inside, which is trying to gate crash, jump from this kind of barricades and trying to enter this gate, they immediately closed the gate and they opened it partially. So when they opened it partially, there were more crowd because it was first come, first serve basis. And most of them jumped on it. And few of them fell below this barricade and many of them walked on them and everybody got injured. And in front of my eyes, there were 3 to 4 people who have been carried to medical commanding center inside Chinnaswamy Stadium.
The police on Thursday told the Karnataka High Court they had deployed 1,380 personnel and additionally 325 Karnataka State Reserve Police personnel. A total of 1,705 security personnel to control more than 2 lakh fans. Do the math. The police have filed an FIR against RCB, DNA Entertainment Private Limited and KSCA Administrative Committee. With so many glaring lapses, everyone is running for cover.
It is Cricket Association which arranged the program. See, earlier also, the same police people were doing the security job.
During the matches.
This time also they were doing this security job.
But ನನಗೆ ಐ ಆಮ್ ವರಿಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಆ ಪಾಪ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಆ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಭಾಳ ನಾನು ನೋಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ 15 ವರ್ಷ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಏನು 10 ಜನ ನಾನು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣಲ್ಲೇ ಅದನ್ನು ಯಾವ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿನೂ ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ ಅವರು ನನಗೆ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟಾಗಿ ಒಂದು 10 ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸಲ್ಲೇ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ನಾನು ರಶ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಪಾಪ ಅವ್ರು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ ಬಂದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
A tragedy that could have been easily avoided. That is the sad truth of the Stampede. With Sagai Raj, Bureau Report, India Today.
An entirely avoidable tragedy. Where does the buck stop then? Will heads roll for mismanagement? What are the lessons to be learned and will they be learned? Where does the buck stop? That's going to be my key focus. I'm joined by people who are proud citizens of Bengaluru, a city which is grieving today. Vinay Srinivasa is an advocate there. Katyayani Chamaraj is Executive Trustee Civic Bangalore. Bhaskar Rao, former Police Commissioner Bangalore, he's also been part of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Harish Bijur is a brand guru. Aishwarya Mahadev joins me, National Spokesperson Congress, and Syed Zafar Islam, National Spokesperson Political and Economic Affairs, BJP. I'm going to ask each and every one of you that simple question. Where does the buck stop? Aishwarya Mahadev, you first. You're the party in power. Whenever a terrible incident like this takes place in the BJP ruled state, you want heads to roll. Does the buck stop with Mr. Siddaramaya's government and Mr. Shiv Kumar or not?
Good evening, Rajdeep. I think what has happened is an absolute tragedy, and everybody in Bangalore and Karnataka is grieving for the lives of the people and all those injured, and our prayers are with them. Before I answer, where does the buck stop? It is a very easy question to ask a politician, an analyst, anybody in opposition. The government can say the Vidhan Sauda program, there were no issues. There were 1.5 lakh people. We were able to regulate it. The police may say the previous night after the victory parade, we worked till 5 a.m., ensured that there was absolutely no violence. People on the management side of the RCB can say the government should have done it. KSCA could have said our capacity was 35,000, 3 lakh people we did not expect. People can point fingers and say gates were not opened, passes were not issued, RCB issued tweets in violation and dereliction of what the police had already said. The police can also say we cancelled a victory parade, anticipating that there could be these problems like that. Everybody can point the finger at the other person. The point is not that. The point is lives have been lost. Yes, blame and responsibility need to be apportioned, but this proselytizing on television, these diatribes, these pointing fingers, they help nobody, and they are an insult to the people who have lost their lives.
Aishwarya Mahadev, I concede that this is not about finger pointing. I'm asking for accountability, ma'am. And who will be held accountable? A couple of days later, the story will move on to another story. I ask you a simple question. Will heads roll? Should heads roll? And should they begin by people with heads of people in government? Buck stops with you.
I believe that responsibility and apportionment of responsibility and accountability is absolutely important. My government from this morning, whether it was moving away, because, I have to clear out this whole misconstrued representation of facts saying that the Vidhan Sauda event was happening and people are dying. No, the felicitation had ended. The government event that was scheduled had completely taken place and moved on. And this was at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. Whatever it is, the government representatives moved there. The commissioner also visited. The deputy CM left the event. The chief minister visited the event. At the end of the day also, whether it was ambulances, whether it was emergency hospital clearances, whether it was the hospital command center, or even within hours, forget compensation, because no amount of money is going to bring back these lives. But an investigation, a magisterial investigation and a suo motu in court tells you my government is moving in the right direction.
Okay, you're saying this even as I'm getting breaking news. Karnataka government has suspended the Bengaluru Police Commissioner. A judicial commission has been appointed to probe the Bengaluru Stampede. The Chief Minister says will ensure arrests of those responsible. So now you've got the Bengaluru Police Commissioner, who's known to be a very strong, firm officer and one of the better officers that we know of. The Bengaluru Police Commissioner, is he the one to take the rap? Remember, the police had made it very clear they did not want this victory parade to take place or the celebrations to take place so soon. They had recommended it take place on Sunday with adequate planning. And yet it is the Bengaluru Police Commissioner today who has been suspended by the Karnataka government. Is he becoming the fall guy? The police, remember, recommended, I repeat, recommended, don't have these celebrations so soon, we need more time. And yet the celebrations went ahead. Syed Zafar Islam, should the Bengaluru Police Commissioner be held responsible? Does the buck stop with the police?
Rajdeep, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to convey condolences to the families of 11 precious lives, and they have lost their precious lives. On behalf of my party, I want to convey the condolences to the families. What is more important for us, all of us, to understand, Rajdeep, that buck stops with the in charge of the administration. And who is in charge of the entire state administration? It is the chief minister. If you are saying that the police has conveyed to the chief minister and the deputy chief minister that why there is a haste, why there is a tearing hurry, to organize this victory celebration because they wanted to take the political advantage, and that's why they wanted to be associated with this kind of event. No harm in organizing victory parade. It has been organized in many other states, but it was not organized in such a haste, as haste has been demonstrated by the insensitive killer Congress government in Bengaluru.
Many are saying, Syed Zafar Islam, the haste was of the franchise. RCB, which tweeted already at 7 in the morning, again later, RCB was the one which wanted the event to be held as early as possible because the players had to then leave for different parts of India and the world. Are you still going to say the Karnataka? Are you telling me that next time there is a stampede in a BJP ruled state, a chief minister should resign? When it happens in Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath should resign?
Let me tell you two things, which is very important for you to understand, Rajdeep and the viewers. First of all, this haste was primarily because even if the police administration or police commissioner had informed, then why the government had decided to go ahead. Secondly, even if the private organization like RCB or for that matter Karnataka Cricket Association, they wanted to go ahead, it is whose responsibility to the safety and security of the people of Karnataka? It is the responsibility of the state administration, not the private organization. And third, had the incident, such incident tragedy can take place. But if you had followed the protocol for crowd management, then perhaps you could have at least have some something. So you had been able to say that yes, we had the crowd management.
Right.
But they had not followed any protocol of crowd management. That's why it is important to stop the buck at Sitaramaiah. He should be arrested, he should resign and should be arrested and put behind the bar.
Aishwarya Madhav, I'll give you one more shot because since I spoke to you last, that news has come in that the Bengaluru Police Commissioner has been suspended. So it seems that the Karnataka government has decided the police must take the rap.
Before I answer that, I feel like hypocrisy is quite insulting because an overnight program not being prepared, Mr. Islam talks about how we're so responsible, but an event that was planned for 6 months was advertised in every single newspaper with a particular CM at the front desk, still saw a stampede. And it is rank hypocrisy for you to point out, but I'm not going to do any more of that. I'm going to tell you we're moving in the right direction to ensure accountability. Whether it is the RCB, whether it is management, it is dereliction of the state law and order situation, or even members in government. I believe that this probe, and also the High Court has taken cognizance of this. I believe we have taken responsibility, which a lot of other governments have not.
We meaning the police commissioner. We meaning the police commissioner, not the political leadership.
Sir, if law and order falls under the police commissioner who takes responsibility, and it's not only the police commissioner, it is the police in charge of the stadium, it is also the police in charge of the local Cubbon Park police station there. There is also an FIR against the event management company that was talking about free passes, then no passes, then app-related passes. Because at prima facie, we see that the responsibility of leading and misleading the crowds came in this direction. Was the police responsible to do more? Yes. Were they unable to? Yes. We will look at all the lapses. If this is a primary sort of action that is being taken, until the magisterial inquiry, we will wait to see and we will apportion blame.
Okay, I've heard you. I've heard you, Aishwarya. Aishwarya Madhav, I've heard you loud and clear. I've heard you. We are having a bit of a problem with your audio, but we'll try and fix that. I want to go at this moment to Harish Bijur. Harish Bijur, you are a brand guru, someone who's looked at brand Bengaluru. Very quickly, your first response to who should, where does the buck stop? Does the buck stop as it appears at the moment the police commissioner has been suspended? Mr. Bijur.
Actually, Rajdeep, this question packs a lot of rhetoric, and I think a lot of needed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
See, Rajdeep, this question actually packs a lot of rhetoric, much needed rhetoric, much needed rhetoric. I'll tell you why. You asked, where does the buck stop? My belief is the buck in these kind of cases never stops anyway. It just goes round and round and round. The question is as rhetorical as who killed Jessica. So I think, the buck never stops anyway. It's passed on, and I'm sure the same thing is going to happen in this case. The key point is this is not a political issue. This is a human and humane issue. Yesterday evening, I headed to the airport at 10 p.m. And even at 10 p.m. outside the stadium, I saw lots and lots of slippers, which are the telltale signs of disaster. And I think, this kind of a thing has hurt many homes, many families. I think we should respect that. And I think we need a white paper on this, which really points out and says what went wrong. It's event management gone wrong. Event management gone wrong.
Event management got wrong, but there are various elements in this event management. Bhaskar Rao, you've also been a former police officer there in Karnataka. You've been associated with the BJP. I want to understand, Police Commissioner Dayanand is known to be one of the better officers. He's taking the rap. He's being suspended. Do you believe that's the right decision, or is he being made the fall guy?
I'm shocked beyond, I'm in disbelief. We all know who the culprit is. We are Bangaloreans. Even Harish Bijur knows who the culprit is.
Who is the culprit?
How the whole program was. They have now made Dayanand the culprit over there. Dayanand has had 3 decades of unblemished career, and now they are looking for a bakra over there. You can see that the government has gone into a panic mode. It has registered a criminal case against RCB and KSCA and DNA, etc. And now they are placing the police commissioner under suspension. Now, after pressure is going to come from various places, they will withdraw it. More panic is going to be shown. The real culprit here is the chief minister himself and his deputy chief minister, who made a mockery, carrying an RCB flag, sitting in a government car and waving as if he's an RCB fan. Seeing the team in the airport, seeing that in the Vidhan Soda, don't be shocked. You have got no moral right. Your hands are full of blood. Please don't raise your hands also. If they have placed the commissioner of police under suspension, this is ultimate anarchy inside the government. They are just looking for someone to be blamed so that they can wash their hands off. It is all very clear how they wanted to snatch the credit of victory of RCB to themselves. RCB is not a Karnataka state team. RCB is not an India team. RCB is only a club team. And
so you're saying even if RCB, you're saying, no, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Bhaskar, you're saying, just a minute, you're saying even if RCB had insisted that they needed to do the celebration the very next day because the players had to fly out to different parts of the country and the world, Karnataka government should have said nothing doing, we will do it at our own time. Am I right?
Absolutely right you are. They should not have allowed this function to take place over there. Even in elections also, we always recommend that victory procession be taken out 2 days later. The frenzy was too much because 18 years later the cup is coming into the hands.
So you're saying the Karnataka government...
And Chief Minister, yes. I am very shocked to say, CM says, I never expected so many people to come. He is the Chief Minister, he should take the blame. Buck stops with the Chief Minister and with nobody else. Police Commissioner and others are lower minions. And I also want to tell you one more thing, Rajdeep. That inquiry officer whom they have appointed, he is behaving in a most stupid manner, talking to media and telling whom he is giving notice. It is none of his business to inform the media. He should first complete his inquiry and submit it to the Chief Minister. The Chief Minister will tell who has appointed him about the contents of it. Why is this man going around and talking to media and telling whom he is going to give notice, etc.?
Okay, let me... Mr. Bhaskar Rao, I've heard you loud and clear. You're saying the buck stops with the Chief Minister. Vinay Srinivasa, advocate, who does the buck stop with?
The buck definitely stops with the state government, Rajdeep, because while a big mistake has been made by RCB, ultimately it is the state government which is responsible. RCB started this whole thing by tweeting at 7 a.m. yesterday about a victory parade and tweeting about celebration at Chinnaswamy Stadium. We don't know who gave them approval to go ahead and tweet all that. But given they did that, the state government could have still said, we can't go ahead with it. The police were through the night of, day before, they were out on the streets because people were celebrating on the streets. So the government should have known that these many people are there, even though RCB behaved extremely irresponsibly by announcing this victory parade, by announcing the celebration at Chinnaswamy Stadium. It is the government which should have said, no, we will not do that. Instead, the government thought they will also cash in on the publicity, and they said that, okay, we will also do an event at Vidhan Sauda. I agree with Aishwarya Mahadev that there was no problem at Vidhan Sauda. That is correct. But we should not have allowed the Chinnaswamy Stadium event to happen. And RCB and KSCA must definitely take blame. I was within 150 meters of the site of the Stampede yesterday. I was coming back from the High Court to my office, and we saw the crowds. And we also went past the stadium later. The Stampede has happened only at 3 gates of the stadium. Why did the Stampede happen only at 3 gates of the stadium? Why did RCB/KSCA say first come, first serve? Why did RCB/KSCA say that, how did they announce these tickets? What did they think about crowd control? What were they doing, right? All these questions are there. But the bigger question is, of course, people might do crazy things, right? RCB is a commercial franchisee after all. RCB cares about money. I don't think RCB even cares about their fans. RCB cares about money. They wanted to cash in. The state government should have said, we will not do this today. And now to hear the police commissioner is suspended, that if the police commissioner is suspended, so should Mr. D.K. Shivkumar resign. He's the Bengaluru Development in charge minister. He went to the HAL airport to receive them. He went to the stadium after this news and he held the cup up in his hand. So why isn't the Bengaluru district in charge minister resigning if the police commissioner is suspended?
I'll get Aishwarya Mahadev to respond to what you've said. You're raising very, very important points that the government wants to...
One last important point. In the FIR registered today, the complainant is the police inspector of Cubbon Park Police Station, who's now suspended. So what are you going to say in court? That the complainant is an inspector who's now suspended. So why are we supposed to take the FIR seriously then? Right? So why is the inspector the complainant, and then why have you suspended him? Can you imagine how it's going to play out in court? The magistrate will say, then how do you trust, right, that what the police inspector has narrated in his complaint?
I take your point, Vinay. You're making very important points. I hope someone out there is listening. Kathyani Chamaraj, Executive Trustee, Civic Bangalore. Where are you going? Where does the buck stop? What do the citizens believe? Collective responsibility. Fans also responsible. Is it fair to blame the fans at all, Kathyani, that they're frenzy in a way?
I think that's right. Cricket is a mercenary thing right now, and it's a business enterprise. We need to recognize that, and that social media is being used to create this frenzy among the public, and they are mistaking this kind of frenzy for a cricket team as something of a pride in the city or the state or the nation. It is totally misplaced.
But we can't blame the fans. We can't blame the fans if they're asked to come to the stadium, first come, first served. That, then the government should have had a proper ticketing system.
Not the government. Yes. I think the blame goes to all sides in this tragic situation. And I think it's not correct to blame this person or that person. All have to accept the blame. And I think citizens also have to accept the blame. I cannot imagine that in a global city like Bengaluru, which is the fastest growing city, Silicon City, and so on, citizens or fans, cannot accept that the stadium is full and they should not try to get into it when it is so full. And instead, they try to climb the wall and they stamp on people and they stamp on children. So what kind of civilized behavior have we learned after having been a global city? I think the citizens also have to introspect about their role. Everybody else has spoken very well about where accountability should stop. But I think I need to point out that citizens also have to play a role in following rule of law. And of course, I must blame the government for all the ad hoc decisions that they are taking without proper planning. It is not just in this event.
Ma'am,
it has become a pattern. Yes,
you've also raised very important points.
To take ad hoc decisions. And that is what is causing the ruin. And they have to realize that in a city which has 1.4 crore people, you announce a government event for a private cricket team. And why should the government have got involved in it at all?
Good point, ma'am. I'm just stopping you for a moment because I want to bring in Aishwarya Mahadev. All of you are raising very, very valid points. Aishwarya Mahadev, private event, private franchise, government virtually takes it over. Mr. Shivkumar is going to receive the cup. Now, the fact is, even if RCB tweeted about it, government could have said, no, sorry, we are not in a position to do so. You come on Sunday. But the government also wanted to take full credit for RCB's victory of a private franchise. The problem, Aishwarya Mahadev, at the end of the day is now you've suspended the police commissioner as if he's the sole person responsible. His commissionerate and the police did not want the event to take place. RCB, KSCA and the state government decided collectively to go ahead. DK Shivkumar will have to take responsibility. Siddaramaiah will have to take responsibility.
You know, Rajdeep, first and foremost, just as a public service announcement for the person talking about my hands being mired and whatnot, while you call him a former commissioner of police, his own Twitter handle says he's a BJP panelist, just as a disclaimer.
I've said that. I've said he's from the BJP, ma'am.
One, right? The second thing, again, when you talk about accountability, this whole responsibility, for example, if I had to abdicate responsibility as a government, I would say the government event had no issues whatsoever. It would be the KSCA. And it would be the RCB. We're not doing that. We're saying anybody who has any responsibility in this, and we're not talking only moral, we're talking about direct causal relationship to the actions that have occurred will be probed. Somebody, the lawyer there also, spoke about this entire idea of the fact that, you know, oh, the person who's filed the complaint is now suspended. Sir, as a lawyer, it is still maintainable because it's an ex officio complaint. It's not an in personam complaint, legally speaking. So don't make it out to be a joke. When the government is seriously trying to see where the blame, forget blame, where accountability has to lie.
Who succumbed to the pressure of the franchise to go ahead with the event? I refuse to believe that it was the police commissioner. I know Mr. Dayanand very well. He's a tough officer. He was obviously put under some pressure by someone.
Understood. Rajdeep, it's a very simple emotion for us. After 18 years, call it illogical, call it mere emotion. Mumbai, Chennai, every time they have won, we have faced 18 years of disappointment. And finally, we saw it may be a completely commercial franchise. We may be auctioning people off like chattel, if nothing else, right? But everybody in Bangalore and Karnataka has stood by for this moment. And for any public representative or a government to say, no, this will happen, that will not happen, or whatnot, maybe the RCB management and the KSCA took advantage of the fact that we would acquiesce to a situation to allow people to celebrate. Maybe it was
Madam, my limited point is public safety comes ahead of public spectacle. I don't care whether there are emotions associated, for God's sake.
Did we or did we not ensure there were police? The KSCA is a privately regulated cricketing authority, yes. Every single match, we provide state security. Even for this, we deployed 1,700 cops who had been on service till 5 a.m. the next day. Was RCB the one that tweeted? Maybe. Was the KSCA management irresponsible? Maybe. Maybe it was the police. Maybe it was the government. The fact remains that until you can ascertain speculation, right, and basically baying for blood helps nobody. If a top cop has been suspended, we're hoping to see
IPS, I can tell you just now, ma'am, in more news coming in, IPS lobby has opposed the suspension of the Bangalore Police Commissioner. They see it as a fall guy. But very quickly, Syed Zafar Islam, a quick answer. You see, the problem with political parties, and particularly your political party, is you all don't believe in resignations. No one resigns after the Mahakumbh. No one even takes responsibility. In fact, there's a cover-up. We don't even know how many people died. Delhi railway stampede, again, there is no one takes responsibility. You have no moral authority today to question the Congress government. That's the problem.
No, Rajdeep, the killer Congress government should have had some plan in place. They didn't plan anything. When you have this kind of event, some protocol is to be maintained. They should be in place. There is some SOPs. Nothing has been followed.
One month ago, there was a stampede in a temple. There was a stampede in a temple in Goa ruled BJP, in BJP ruled Goa. Did you call the chief minister to resign?
No. Who should be held responsible? Why there was a haste? People are asking such event can be organized. We understand people's emotions, but if you are prioritizing people's emotion over safety of the people, then it is left at the hand of the administration. And that is why buck stops at Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar. They should resign and they should be put behind the bar.
Okay, well, if the BJP is saying DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah should resign and be put behind the bars, then I don't know how many politicians, given the number of stampedes that have taken place in different parts of the country, will suddenly find themselves behind the bars. That's the problem, because the fact is that this has been a very, very unfortunate event. And then now to put all the responsibility on the police commissioner may not be the right way to go forward. Clearly what we need is a proper investigation, transparent, with clear responsibility being fixed for those who took the decision. Bengaluru deserves better. That's all that we can say. I appreciate my guest joining me here on my talking point tonight. And joining me now is Asaduddin Owaisi, the AIMIM MP, who's just returned from one of the all-party delegations. Appreciate you joining us here, Mr. Owaisi. You've been traveling and gone to at least 4 countries, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Algeria. Give us a sense of what is the biggest takeaway that you've had from all your interactions, particularly when it comes to how does the world now see what happened in Pahalgam and then Operation Sindoor?
Well, each of these 4 countries which we have gone to, they have condemned the Pahalgam attack. And they are very important for us because out of these 4, one is now presently a member of non-permanent member of Security Council. One country would become in next year. And all these 4 countries are part of Middle East, North Africa, FATF. So we will be requiring their help. And all these 3 Gulf countries are members, all these 4 countries are members of OIC. The 3 Gulf countries are part of GCC. And so they had some questions they were asking us. One was, why don't you speak to Pakistan? So we reminded them, we explained to them that after 26/11, which happened in Mumbai, our investigators went all the way to Pakistan, gave them the DNA samples, gave them audio recordings of terrorists sitting in Pakistan directing attacks in Mumbai. We had shown them that a live terrorist was caught because of bravery of the Mumbai police. Nothing happened. Then we also reminded them that in Pathankot, the ISI, in my opinion, was wrongly allowed by this government to come to Pathankot, but nothing happened. Pakistan didn't cooperate. It was only when Pakistan was put in FATF in 2018 that the trial of 26/11 moved. But unfortunately, what we also reminded them of this classic case of Sajid Mir. Now, Sajid Mir was the main master planner of 26/11. Pakistan was saying he's dead.
While they condemned terrorism, did they condemn Pakistan? Because these are OIC countries which in the past have raised the Kashmir issue as well. Did you see them, are they willing to outrightly condemn the Pakistani army state?
Well, you see, some countries were definitely not happy with what Pakistan is indulging in. Some countries were telling us, why don't you speak to them? We reminded Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that you have given a loan to them of what, $2 billion in 22. And then in 24, I think so, they've extended a $14 billion loan. We told them that where is the money going? It is going to their army. It's not going for the development. So yes, in our meetings, they were concerned about this whole thing which happened. But we had to explain to them that we were compelled to react in the way we reacted. Had Pahalgam not happened, why would we go and attack only 9 proscribed organizations head office? But we would have retaliated had Pakistan kept quiet, but we had to retaliate.
But are these countries aware that Pakistan has misused religion to spread terror? Are they aware of the fact and the manner in which Pahalgam was, the attacks were carried out? And therefore, these Islamic countries, are they aware what Pakistan is doing to Islam across the world by using terror as an instrument to target India?
Well, they are aware. They are definitely aware. They are definitely aware. You cannot say they are not aware. We reminded them.
No, why don't they speak out then against Pakistan, Mr. Owaisi?
Well, you should ask them. I am not a spokesperson of these 4 countries, but my job as a member of the delegation was to put forward India's viewpoint, to explain to them if they have any questions. But what policy they will adopt, I think so Rajdeep Sardesai should fly down to all these 4 countries and speak to people we have met. But this was not our job. Our job was to go and explain to them that India has been a victim of terrorism, perpetrated, sponsored and aided by Pakistan. And many countries accepted that, yes, terrorism has happened. We reminded the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia when we met our interlocutors that in May 2003 in Riyadh, where we met all these His Excellencies, that it was attacked by Al-Qaeda. 8 years ago, Houthis have launched a missile attack at Aramco. In Algeria, we know for a fact. So, all these countries are against Daesh. They are against Al-Qaeda. So we have told them that there is no difference between LET or this Resistance Front and JEM or JAM. They all subscribe to a takfiri ideology of killing any person, Muslim or non-Muslim. So this viewpoint we had sent, we had told them that these 2 emails which were sent by this organization accepting this Pahalgam massacre were sent from an area which is close to the Pakistani military cantonment. So we have shown them that there is a proof, and we have told these countries that this TRF organization is not which suddenly erupted or came on April 22nd. India had informed the United Nations Sanction Committee 1262 in December 2024 that there is a resistance front, which is a new name for LET. We informed them twice I think so in 24. So all in all, all of us have whatever intellectual capacity we had, whatever information we had put forward the best case of India and ensured that they remember that Pakistan wants to destabilize not only South Asia but the whole region over here.
You're saying that you hope that these visits will have a positive impact. One of the interesting aspects, Mr. Owaisi, is that while all of you have gone and spoken out in one voice abroad, in India we are seeing the divisions playing out within. Amit Shah goes to Bengal, accuses Mamata Banerjee of opposing Operation Sindoor, which she actually hasn't, but accuses her of playing vote bank politics. You've had Rahul Gandhi targeting Prime Minister Modi, claiming he surrendered Narendra Modi. How do you respond to that? That while you've gone abroad, defending India within, the BJP is attacking the Congress, Congress is attacking BJP, BJP and Trinamool in a face-off. How do you respond to what's happening at home?
That is our democracy at work. We are not Pakistan. We are not those countries where they have theocracy or kings. This is our democracy at its best. We have the right to criticize each other. We have criticizing, but at the same time, you have the TMC member, part of the delegation. You have all Congress members who are part of the delegation. You have Supriya Sule who is heading a delegation. You have Kanimozi.
But isn't it sending out wrong signals, Mr. Owaisi, with due regard? The fact is, if you all speak in one voice abroad and you speak in very discordant voices at home, you're saying it's a triumph of democracy. But at the end of the day, doesn't it send out mixed signals?
Well, what matters is that when you're abroad, you're representing India. What is the language that you're using? The language is different. You're in India. So you're part of a political party. Of course, that is our democracy working. That is how, we can say that we are exercising our freedom of expression. Yes, we might say sometimes we cannot say what we want to say. We can also say that Rajdeep Sardesai cannot say what he wants to say sitting at this place. But then again, still a democracy is there, isn't it?
No. You see, there are those, for example, CPI's D. Raja, while calling for a special session of Parliament, Mr. Owaisi has just said, it is unacceptable that foreign governments will be briefed while India's own Parliament and people remain in the dark. How do you respond? Do you believe that even before the foreign delegations were sent out, there should have been a special session of Parliament? Or do you believe there should be a special session of Parliament now?
No, but the brief that was given to us, the whole nation knows. I mean, I went along with Group 1 headed by my good friend Jay Panda, was it the information that we had, was that information not in the public realm in India? It was there in public realm in India. Yes, it would have been good if a parliament session would have been called. But now when today monsoon parliament session dates have been announced, my party will definitely demand that a proper discussion should take place on Pahalgam, the security lapse which happened in Pahalgam, who's accountable for it. There should be a discussion. And if the Modi government says it's a sensitive issue, we will not allow a discussion. I want to remind this government through you, through your channel, is that the parliamentary rules provide you to have an in-camera discussion, wherein without media reporting any of it, this was done, I think so, once in 1960s. The same can happen, but definitely there are pointed questions will be raised against the government. And how did this security lapse happen? Who's accountable for it? And subsequently, what would be a deterrence policy? So I hope, but as far as my party is concerned, we will be definitely demanding that such a discussion take place in the forthcoming monsoon session, which will be held in
So
July.
what you're saying, Mr. Owaisi, is interesting. You're saying you've gone abroad, you've exposed Pakistan as a perpetrator of terror, brought out the difference between India as a victim and Pakistan as a perpetrator. You've used very strong words against Pakistan, but you're saying now that you're back in India, you will continue to raise some of the inconvenient questions like security lapses in Pahalgam and other related questions. Am I correct?
These are not inconvenient. These are the most important questions which the nation would want to know. If you say it inconvenient, why should I say it inconvenient? This is a proper question that has to be asked with our government. We'll definitely ask it.
No, the reason I'm asking you, Mr.
You're
Owaisi,
part of a delegation, which is the
sure, you're making a distinction between going on a foreign delegation abroad, all-party delegation abroad, and your role as a opposition leader in this country. My point, the reason I ask you this is because leaders like you have often been demonized in recent times. You've been among those who've often been termed as anti-national when you speak out at home. Now suddenly people are celebrating Mr. Owaisi, congratulating you for the tough stand you've taken against Pakistan and Pakistan-based terror. How do you respond? What would you tell those who once saw you as anti-national and today are saying Owaisi is the true nationalist?
Again, I would say our democracy is working. They can say whatever they want. That doesn't changes me. That I am not dying for anyone's praises. I have never asked for a certificate of patriotism and nationalism of anyone. I will continue to say what I have to say, but if they have realized, oh, Mr. Owaisi has said this, what can I tell them? I have always been like this. So we are not, I don't, see, this is democracy. Today they have praised you, tomorrow they'll criticize you. So this happens in politics, the day any politician, any leader starts accepting that every 24 hours I should be praised. And if anyone who doesn't praises me, then I will go after him, then that is not democracy. That is not democracy. You're weakening democracy basically.
Okay. Asaduddin Owaisi, for joining me and speaking as firmly as ever, clearly as ever. Appreciate you joining me and welcome back home.
Thank you, Raj.
And you can watch the entire interview with Mr. Owaisi on our India Today YouTube channel for the complete interview. That's it on the show. We've run out of time completely. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubhratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.